Rain God Returns, Jaguar Tower, episode 23. And now we're at the very end. We've just seen the last few pages. I hope this encourages you to read the novel. You know, I mean, there's a lot more in the novel, and this is sort of a comic book version of it. But if you're not interested, I understand. And if this is all you wanted to do, then I'm glad you stuck with me to the very end. So let me just go through these last few pages, because I did enjoy making these, you know, sort of the comic book format. So this says, "This is the last issue of Rain God Returns. What's next?" And this section is called News from the Ball Court. If you don't remember, I have these at the very end of my issues. So here's a story from Plurby Splurblurt from Jacksonville, Florida. He says, "Why are all your lines so jaggedy and waggly? Most comic books have nice, neat boxes around their drawings." And Patrick responds, "Dear Mr. Blurt, I thought it would look more like the uneven surfaces of stone and wall carving that we find in Mayan ruins. I do have a computer that makes perfectly straight lines. I just didn't think it looked right." And Groob Stubenblooms from Madison, Wisconsin says, "This is a normal comic, right? You use so many words. Some of the pages are so crammed full of balloons I can't tell who's talking. It's as if this is one of those illustrated classics." And Patrick responds, "Dear Groob, well, that's a good point. See, actually, I did write the whole thing out as a book first, but afterwards I realized it would just make a better comic book. I think there are just enough words, but I agree with you on one point, that there should be more pictures. Next time, chappy," as I say all the time. And this one is from Prudence Bluebell in San Mateo, California. "Dear Patrick, I love Sak Chen. He's so clever and cute. His nose is kind of upturny, unlike all those other guys in the story. Dear Prue, I know, I love that little guy too. I modeled him partly on the famous American actor Paul Rudd, if you can believe that." And one last message from Roger Hodgkins. He says, "Dear Patrick, I'm a big Astro Boy fan, so naturally I see influences everywhere, but some of your characters really remind me of him." And Patrick responds, "Dear Roger, you're right. I've been reading Osamu Tezuka's comics, and his style has crept into my pen. I can't really say I tried to make any of these characters look like Astro Boy, but I do emulate the master illustrator's works." And just to point out that I do actually have a bunch of his printed works. This one is called, I don't know, what's it called? MW. But yeah, I really admire his work. And you see how it's interesting how he changes styles. Like this is just a beautiful, it's like an etching, it's like a copper etching, and then you have a cartoonish face right next to it, like unlike what you wouldn't expect to see that face after having emerged from a landscape like that. I just realized this probably looks familiar to you. I did this exact thing in an earlier issue of the comic. go back and look, this is the shh of the storm going through the village. But yeah. I mean, it's so interesting, the mixes of textures and styles. Like this is a very, very detailed picture, and then you have something like this, which is so cartoonish. So yeah, there's that one, and there's I liked this one too. What is the name of this story? I picked it up because I thought it was interesting. Is it just MW? I think it must be. So, and there's this one too, Apollo's Song. Same ideas. I mean, look at this. Look, I copied it. I copied it because I admire his work, and I want to be just like Osamu. Little faces. They're so expressive. I was aiming to do that. I mean, this is my aim, is to make the faces expressive, but also make some lush and exciting. Look, there's more of that. And exciting pages. I mean, yeah, this is what I modeled myself after. Gosh, look at that. That is just mind-blowing. I should also mention that a big influence is this. Keiji Nakazawa, Barefoot Gen. I don't have all of the issues of this. I only have a few. But similar idea. Very striking design. Very detailed and dramatic. And then there's like this, just the goofiest little gestures. These, and I mean, some of this stuff is terrible. It's terrible images. What did I just see back there? Somebody just wrapped up like a little mummy in there. It's about just before and after the attacks on Japan by the United States. It's a story of a little guy living there. Anyway, my influences, and what I aspire to do. At least in this one, I can draw better though. This is the way I wanted it to look. So, more news from the ball cart. I'm not going to read all this. Well, I don't have to. It says, well, hello, fellow chalksters. At the end of the 4th issue has come too soon. I sure enjoyed making this little old comic for you. I hope you had a good time reading it. What's next for me? Well, besides reading books by the Bronte sisters lately, I've been thumbing through Russ Kick's graphic canon. If you haven't seen this series of of this illustrated classics, I would have brought that out like this, but I gave it to a friend, so I can't show it to you. But Russ Kick, go look that up. I highly recommend it. Anyway, I feel inspired to try my hand at adapting one of Anne Bronte's books to comic form. We'll see how that goes. And I still haven't done that, but I'm going to do that. I also want to learn Russian. I don't think I have time for both. Additionally, I've read a whole bunch of books so I could have a clear picture of the era and milieu as I crafted this wild and woolly adventure. After this message, I'll include the names of some of the books and websites I used as sources. The Mayans created a fascinatingly complex world that I really want you to read up, and I really want you to read up on the elements I could only touch upon lightly in the small amount of space that afforded me in this format, and even in the novel format. Paleontologists, linguists, and mathematicians, and archaeologists who spent their lives researching this subject deserve all the credit for providing details that would make this comic come alive. And they deserve none of the blame for the fabrications that I used to embellish the plot. I'll see you next time. That's me, Patrick Barbas. So I'll scan this and put it as a card at the end of this video so you can screen grab it if you like. Two things remain is this Logographia back page, that usually people sell things on the back page, and mine is featuring a grapheme is the smallest meaningful unit in writing. A glyph, which is what these are, is an inscribed mark that represents a syllable or logogram. The Mayan system of writing uses these graphemes as symbols purely for their sounds to represent words. So each one of these things I have dutifully traced out of scholarly books, and instead of translating them, I'm writing little pieces of poetry. For example, for this one, limestone is softer than flint, but is considered an alchemical stone because we can transform it into architecture. If you need a lord to praise, then you may choose the one who heals you. Sometimes the best source of advice is a companion spirit. Watching the lovely heron can take flight, can lift one's heart and relieve the burdens of anxiety. Knowing that I have a shield, that's a shield right there, can encourage me to take bold risks. So you get the idea. I'm not going to read through all of these because it's more enjoyable if you look at them piece by piece at your leisure. And then the last one, I think I've shown this in previous videos. Is it's my interpretation of those poster and rug. I think they sold rugs too on the back pages of comic books. But they sold these goofy posters that nobody would ever want to put on their walls. And so that's what I'm doing here. I've taken some pictures. I've taken some photographs of things that I at one time or another I found them interesting, and these are actually on my website for free. So you don't even need to buy them. You can just go download them. But for the sake of replicating this weird poster advertisement, I have gone to the effort of creating little ads for all these things. It says, okay, let me read this better. I can't read it. I write it it's such tiny script, I can't even read my own writing. These are thumbnails I've used in various media platforms. If you are reading this, I gotta read this closer. Right. If you're reading this in the 20s, you can get these things called websites, which may still carry examples of my work. So I list the platforms that I've used in the past: Audius, YouTube, Bandcamp, BitChute, and Vimeo, Instagram also. Down here in the corner is another one of those little cutout coupons that you can use to write the number of the picture that you want and send me some money, and I'll mail it to you just for the pleasure of mailing a picture that I've printed off of my computer on computer paper. So I'm glad if you're just joining, if this is the first video you've seen of this series, I hope that you go back, look at the playlist, find number 1, and follow through. And if you have stayed with me this whole time, thank you for watching this. And I already have another project that I'm gonna do the same thing with. And I might another thing I wanted to do was offer, I do have an audiobook that is only available on Amazon through Audible. So you have to have Audible, and you have to go through all this rigmarole to listen to the audiobook. And if you don't want to do that, then I'm going to offer you in the comments section, I'll put a little link that you can go to my Google Drive, or I think Google Drive, or maybe Dropbox, and you can just download the audiobook for free, if that's the kind of thing you like, because I'd rather somebody read it and enjoy it than it just sit out there and have somebody download it because they're getting Audible for free or whatever. So I just wanted to let you know that's what's going to do. Here, let me show you what it is. So it's called Merlin and the Snow Fox, and Amazon made me print this in book form, or else they wouldn't provide it as an audiobook. It's just goofy, but it doesn't work as a book because I include, as part of this story, songs that are plot devices. So it just doesn't work as a book because you can't hear the song when the person sings it. In the book, I write it out, and he sang a song, and it just doesn't work. So this is it, Merlin and the Snow Fox. So if you're interested in that, look down in the comments, and we'll continue on. I hope you stick around this channel. Thank you.